Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret is a 68-year-old retired school teacher from Ohio who came to see me last spring. She walked into my office, hunched over, gripping her husband's arm, barely able to take a step without wincing. Her left leg was on fire. That deep, searing, electrical pain that starts in the lower back and shoots all the way down through the buttock, the back of the thigh, and into the calf. Classic sciatica. But here is the thing that broke my heart. Margaret did not have to be in that condition. 6 months before she walked into my office, Margaret had only mild sciatica. It was a nuisance, a little tingling in her leg after sitting too long, a dull ache in her lower back when she bent over to pick up her grandkids' toys. Nothing debilitating. So Margaret did what millions of people over 60 do. She went online, searched for sciatica stretches, and found dozens of videos telling her to do the piriformis stretch, the seated hamstring stretch, and the figure 4 stretch. She did them every single day. She did them aggressively. She held those stretches for 60 seconds at a time, sometimes longer, pulling her knee to her chest, yanking her leg across her body, really forcing it. And within 3 weeks, Margaret could not get out of bed. She went from mild tingling to complete debilitation. She could not sit. She could not stand for more than 2 minutes. She could not sleep through the night. Her husband had to help her get dressed. All because she followed generic stretching advice that was never designed for a 68-year-old spine. And I want to be very clear about something. This was not Margaret's fault. She was trying to help herself. She was being proactive. The problem is that the information she found was dangerously incomplete. Those stretches work for some people. They might work for a 30-year-old with a tight piriformis and a healthy spine. But for a 68-year-old woman with age-related spinal changes, those aggressive stretches did not release the nerve. They strangled it further. And Margaret is not some rare case. I see patients like her every single week in my practice. Good people, smart people, people who were trying to do the right thing and ended up in agony because nobody told them the truth. So today, I am going to tell you the truth. I am going to explain exactly why stretching is betraying your body after 60. And I am going to give you 3 simple movements you can do standing or lying down in your own home that actually work with the way your spine has changed instead of fighting against it. But first, you need to understand what is actually happening inside your body. Because once this clicks for you, you will never look at a sciatica stretch video the same way again. And I promise I am going to keep this simple. No medical textbook lecture, just the truth. Your sciatic nerve is the longest nerve in your body. It runs from your lower back, down through your pelvis, through your buttock, and all the way down each leg. When it is healthy and happy, you never even know it is there. But when something presses on it or irritates it, you know immediately. That burning, that shooting electricity, that numbness in your foot, that is your sciatic nerve screaming for help. Now here is what changes after 60. And honestly, this starts even earlier for a lot of people. The discs in your spine, those soft cushions that sit between each vertebra, they dry out. Think of them like a grape slowly turning into a raisin over the course of your life. When those discs were plump and hydrated in your 30s and 40s, they kept the vertebrae nicely spaced apart, and the nerve had plenty of room to exit the spine without being touched. But as those discs flatten and lose height, the exit tunnels where the nerve passes through get smaller, the walls close in, and on top of that, your body tries to stabilize those aging joints by growing extra little bits of bone around the edges, which narrows that space even further. So by the time you are 60 or 65, your sciatic nerve is already living in a much tighter space than it used to. It is like moving from a spacious apartment into a cramped closet. The nerve can still function, but there is very little room to spare. Now picture what happens when you do an aggressive piriformis stretch or a deep hamstring stretch. You are pulling on that nerve. You are creating tension on a nerve that is already compressed in a tight space. You are not freeing it. You are dragging it harder against the very bone and tissue that is already crushing it. Imagine a rope threaded through a narrow pipe. and someone grabs both ends and pulls. That rope is not sliding freely. It is grinding against the edges of that pipe. That is exactly what is happening to your sciatic nerve when you aggressively stretch after 60. And the result is more inflammation, more swelling, more pain, and more damage. This is why Margaret went from mild tingling to bedridden in 3 weeks. She was not healing the nerve, she was shredding it. So if stretching is out, what do we do instead? The answer comes down to understanding what the nerve actually needs. It does not need to be pulled. It needs to be gently slid back and forth through its tunnel, almost like flossing a thread between your teeth. It needs the pressure taken off of it through gentle spinal positioning, and it needs the muscles around your spine to become strong and stable enough to hold those vertebrae in place so the nerve stops getting pinched every time you move. Those are the 3 principles: nerve gliding, spinal decompression, and core stability. And the 3 movements I am about to show you address each one of those principles perfectly. They require no equipment, they are gentle enough for even severe sciatica, and every single one of them can be done without getting down on the floor. Because I know that for a lot of you, getting down on the floor and back up again is a workout in itself. So the first thing we need to do is get that nerve moving again. The way I explain this to my patients is your nerve has become stuck. The inflammation from being compressed has caused it to adhere to the surrounding tissue. It is not sliding smoothly the way it should. So instead of stretching it, which yanks it against those adhesions and makes everything worse, we are going to gently floss it back and forth. We are going to free it up gradually, the same way you would carefully work a stuck zipper instead of just forcing it. This is called a supine nerve floss, and you do it lying on your back. You will see exactly how to perform it on screen right now, but let me tell you what matters most. The magic of this movement is that you are creating tension on one end of the nerve while releasing tension on the other end at the same time. So the nerve slides through its tunnel in one direction, and then you reverse it, tension on the other end, release on the first end, and the nerve slides back. At no point is the nerve being pulled tight from both ends. That is the critical difference between this and a stretch. A stretch pulls from both ends and grinds the nerve against whatever is compressing it. A nerve floss pulls from one end and releases from the other, so the nerve slides freely without being crushed. When you do this, you should feel a gentle gliding sensation along the back of your leg, maybe a mild pulling behind the knee or in the calf. That is normal. That is the nerve moving. But if you feel sharp, shooting pain, you have gone too far. Reduce how much you straighten the leg and keep the movement smaller. You are not trying to force anything. You are coaxing the nerve back to health. 10 gentle repetitions, twice a day, morning and evening. Most of my patients tell me they feel a noticeable difference within the first week. By week 2 or 3, that constant burning in the leg starts to fade. The nerve is freeing up. It is finally able to slide the way it was designed to slide. See how simple that is. No gym, no equipment, no getting on the floor. Just a basic movement that works with the anatomy of your aging spine instead of against it. And if you want more safe, home-based routines like this, you need to subscribe to this channel right now. I create content specifically for people over 60 who want to manage their pain at home without expensive therapies or risky procedures. Hit that subscribe button right now so you do not miss what is coming next. Now let us move on. The second movement I am about to explain is the one that gives my patients the fastest relief. Now that we have started freeing up the nerve, we need to take pressure off of it at the source. And this is where most people get it completely backward. When you have sciatica, your instinct is to bend forward, to curl up, to round your back because it feels protective. But for the vast majority of people over 60, especially those with disc-related nerve compression, bending forward is the worst thing you can do. When you flex your spine forward, the disc material shifts backward toward the nerve. You are literally pushing the problem into the nerve. What you actually want to do is the opposite. You want to gently extend your spine, gently arch it, because that encourages the disc material to shift forward and away from the nerve. It is like squeezing the back of a tube of toothpaste to move the contents toward the front. Same concept. This movement is called a prone press-up, and you can see exactly how it looks on screen right now. You lie face down, and you gently press your upper body up while keeping your hips on the surface. That is it. It is one of the most well-researched movements in the entire field of spinal rehabilitation, and the science behind it is rock solid. You are using gravity and the natural mechanics of your spine to decompress the nerve root. Now, here is what I want you to pay attention to, and this is incredibly important. When you start doing this movement, you might notice that your leg pain is in your calf or your foot. As you do more repetitions over the course of a few days, you may notice that pain starts to retreat. It moves from the calf up to the knee, from the knee up to the thigh, from the thigh up to the buttock. That retreat of pain is called centralization, and in my 30 years of practice, it is one of the most reliable signs that a spinal exercise is actually working. It means the nerve is being decompressed. The pressure is coming off. The pain is pulling back to the source and fading. If you experience centralization, you are on the right track. Keep going. Do 10 repetitions, 3 times a day, morning, midday, and evening. Go only as far as you can without sharp pain in the leg. For some of you, that might only be a few inches of press up at first. That is perfectly fine. Your range will improve as the nerve compression decreases. And listen, if lying on the floor is too difficult, you can do a standing version of this same movement. Just stand with your hands on your lower back, fingers pointing down, and gently lean backward into a small arch. Same principle, same decompression effect, just a little more accessible. Now, the third thing we need to address is why the nerve keeps getting pinched in the first place. And this is the piece that almost everyone misses. You can floss the nerve all day long, you can decompress it beautifully with press-ups, but if the muscles that are supposed to hold your spine stable are weak and are not doing their job, those vertebrae are going to keep shifting around every time you move, and the nerve is going to keep getting irritated. It is like fixing a pothole on a road but ignoring the fact that heavy trucks keep driving over it every day. You have to address the underlying instability or the problem just keeps coming back. Now, most core stability exercises you see online involve getting down on the floor. Planks, bird dogs, dead bugs. Great exercises for a 30-year-old. Completely impractical and potentially dangerous for someone over 60 with active sciatica. So forget all of that. I want you to do what I call a standing wall brace, and it is one of the most deceptively effective core exercises I have ever prescribed. It looks like nothing. It looks too easy. But when you do it correctly, it activates the deep stabilizer muscles of your spine in exactly the way you need. You can see how this looks on screen right now, but here is what you need to understand about why it works. The deep muscles along your spine, the ones closest to the vertebrae, are not the big muscles you can see in the mirror. They are small, deep muscles that act like guide wires on a radio tower. They do not produce big movements. They produce stability. They hold each vertebra precisely in place so the nerve tunnels stay open and the nerve does not get pinched. And the way you train these muscles is not through big sweeping movements. It is through sustained, controlled bracing in a stable position. That is exactly what the standing wall brace does. You stand with your back against a wall, and you use the wall for support while you engage your core and slowly extend one arm or one leg at a time. The wall gives you feedback. If your back starts to arch or twist, you feel it immediately because you lose contact with the wall. It is like having a built-in coach. And because you are standing, there is no getting down on the floor and struggling to get back up. You do this next to your kitchen counter, and you can grab it for extra balance if you need it. The key is not how far you extend the arm or the leg. The key is whether your spine stays perfectly still while you do it. That stillness is your deep core muscles firing. That stillness is what protects your nerve. 5 repetitions on each side, once a day. It takes less than 3 minutes. But over the course of a few weeks, those deep stabilizer muscles get stronger, your spine becomes more stable, and the nerve stops getting pinched during daily activities. Bending over to load the dishwasher, turning to grab something from the back seat of your car, reaching up into a cabinet, all those little movements that used to trigger your sciatica start becoming painless because your spine is finally stable enough to protect the nerve. Now, before I let you go, I want to share one final piece of advice that has nothing to do with exercise, but has a massive impact on your sciatic nerve recovery. Walk every day. I know that sounds almost too simple to be useful, but the science behind this is powerful. When you walk, the gentle, rhythmic compression and decompression of each step acts like a pump for your spinal discs. It draws fluid and nutrients into those dried out discs and flushes inflammatory waste products away from the nerve. Walking also increases blood flow to the entire spinal region, which delivers the oxygen and healing compounds that your inflamed nerve root desperately needs to recover. And on top of all that, walking triggers the release of your body's own natural painkillers, endorphins, which can provide hours of pain relief after even a short walk. Start with 5 minutes on flat ground at whatever pace is comfortable. Not a power walk, not a hike, just an easy, gentle stroll. If your leg starts flaring up, stop, do a few standing press-ups to decompress the nerve, and try again. Add a minute or two each day as you feel able. The goal is to eventually get to 20 or 30 minutes of walking per day. Combined with the 3 movements I just showed you, this daily walk creates a complete recovery system for your sciatic nerve. You are flossing the nerve to free it, extending the spine to decompress it, bracing the core to stabilize it, and walking to nourish and heal it. That is the entire protocol. That is what works. Margaret did exactly this. It took her about 6 weeks of consistent daily practice. And today she is back to gardening. She is back to playing with her grandchildren on the floor. She is sleeping through the night without pain for the first time in months. No surgery, no injections, no aggressive stretching. Just smart, gentle, consistent movement that respects the 68-year-old spine she actually has, instead of pretending she still has the spine she had at 35. If you are over 60 and you are dealing with sciatica, please hear me on this. Stop doing those aggressive stretches. They are not designed for your body anymore. Your spine has changed. Your nerve has changed. And you need an approach that works with those changes, not against them. You now have that approach. Nerve flossing, spinal extension, standing core stability, and daily walking. Start today. Be consistent, be patient, and let your body heal. And if this video helped you, if you feel like you finally understand why your sciatica was not getting better, then I need you to subscribe to this channel right now. I am building the most comprehensive library of safe, effective, home-based exercise routines for people over 60 on all of YouTube. Joint pain, back pain, balance, mobility, strength. It is all here and it is all free. Every video is designed specifically for your body and your needs. Subscribe, share this video with a friend or family member who is struggling with sciatica, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Your body is more resilient than you think. You just need to give it the right tools.